episode contains stories of tragic accidents, trauma, and pain medication addiction. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Welcome to the It's Your Story to Tell podcast, where brave people share how they overcame tough times to inspire others in what's possible. I'm your host, Megan Babcock. I'm also the founder of the It's Your Story to Tell community and the Coach Collective. And we are back again today with Matt. I am so honored. Thank you for your time, for sharing your story. You guys, if you did not hear the last episode, pause here, go back so that you can hear kind of the story of what happened to Matt and how he has been working through it. And then we're going to talk today a little bit more about how when he recognized to just the power of mindset and what he did and how he has gone about overcoming, something that pretty much thought was impossible. I loved the examples from the last episode when you were talking about, climbing Mount Everest and breaking the 5-minute mile.
Yeah.
There are impossible things until, like you said, it's no longer impossible. Then everybody's like,
Right.
now what, how fast are they running? I mean, it's
Sub
crazy.
4
It's
miles.
like,
Yeah.
right? When we thought 5 was impossible. So
Right.
the body, the mindset, is really pretty miraculous. But we have to bring all of those things into partnership in order to achieve what we think is impossible. So
Yes.
thanks for being back with me, and let's just jump in. Kind of carry us through where you were now that you've been at home and you still have the goal to relearn to walk. You have an amazing wife who didn't let you push her away, which, when we're in a hard place and we're not feeling good about ourselves, that's a natural tendency, but how amazing that she was able to look to you and give you that peace that you described.
So true. We hurt the ones we love most. We just figured, hey, we can inflict a lot of pain here, and hopefully they're not going to go anywhere. But that happens enough. Enough's enough, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
is going to do it until they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I started going to therapies down here in St. George. I found a therapist named Scott Gillespie, and I absolutely love this man. Dr. Stephen Clark, and then another therapist for my biofeedback. So I'm going to therapy every single day. What I think a lot of people don't have the opportunity to experience is an all-in mentality. And I went all in on walking, to the point my family took a backseat. My company, my relationships, I was all in on this goal of walking and tunnel vision. So every morning I'd wake up, I'd go to biofeedback. So that's where they put electrodes on your legs. You look at a screen and you try to fire your muscles, and it's measuring milliamps of the electrical impulse to get a muscle to fire. And I did that for years, and then I would go to physical therapy and work the muscle that I worked on that day in biofeedback. Well, during therapies, I was in pain. I had all these rods, and I'd just gone through these surgeries, and I had that big old brace on, and I was in a lot of pain. And when I left the hospital, they sent me home with a drug called Oxycontin. And I didn't quite understand what this drug was. All I knew is when I took it, I could push my body hard and beyond what medical science could predict. And so I'd wake up every morning, I would take my Oxycontin, I would take my Lortabs, So I'd taken Oxycontin for long-term pain. I'm taking Loratabs for my breakthrough pain, and I'd wait for those meds to kick in, and I'd just kind of, you know, and I would face the day. I would get in my wheelchair. I'd go to therapy. Right after therapy, I'd take another Oxycontin. I'd take 5 more Loratabs, and then but after a year, my Oxy 10s and my Loratabs just weren't cutting it anymore. I was in pain. My body had built up this tolerance. So we kicked them to Oxy 30s and to Perk 10s. And so that was the regimen every morning for another year. And then we went to, now I am dependent on this medication just to function, just to be normal. And at the height of my abuse, because that's what it was, and I had the best excuse in the world. I had these rods and screws. I'm paralyzed. But I was treating my emotional pain with my pain medication, not so much my physical pain. Now, was I in physical pain? To be honest with you, I don't even know, because I was so snowed all the time. Now, so we're 5 years in, and I've regained the ability to walk with forearm crutches. Not very fast, and I could walk with forearm crutches. I put my wheelchair away, and I go up to LDS Hospital to show this doctor that, hey,
Of course you
look at
did.
this. You know what I mean? Because I'm that guy, right?
Here is the
I got him.
impossible.
Yeah, I got him. So I walk with forearm crutches from the parking lot into the hospital, up to the 5th floor, and down the hall to his office, standing in his doorway with my crutches. And I'm like, do you remember me? And he's Blanchard. And I'm like, yes, Blanchard. It's been 5 years. He's like, what can I help you with? I'm like, you told me I would never do this. He's like, well, what's that? I'm like, you told me I would never walk. And he looked right at me and said, well, you're not. You're using assisted devices. And he got up from behind his desk and left the room. And the hatred for this doctor. So I go back down to my car. Now I got to drive all the way back to St. George. And I'm just bawling. Now I'm 35, 36 years old, just bawling. I get back down to St. George, and I'm like, you know what? Let's go. Let's go. And so in every therapy, when my body did not want to go, I didn't want to take, sometimes I would have great days where I would take 3, 4, 5 more steps with my crutches. Some days I would have bad days where I would fall short of what I did the day before. And boy, was I hard on myself those days. Very hard on myself, because I hadn't accomplished where I was the day before. But I would always think of this doctor, and I would force my body to do. Your mind will give up far before your heart gives up. Like, if you want something, really want something, and you're willing to go all in on this something, you can achieve it. I'm telling you right now, you can achieve this something. It might not look the way you wanted it to look. So I thought I was really going to play basketball again. I was going to run marathons again, all these things. And that never came. But did I walk again? Yeah, you bet I did. And then at my best, I could, with one crutch in a single point cane, actually, in my left hand, I was able to walk 40 yards. And boy, I'm getting stronger. I'm not using my wheelchair. But my medication is going just through the roof. So now I went away, I'm on Oxycontin 80s, and I'm taking 3 of those a day, morning, noon, and night. I'm taking a drug called Roxycontin. It doesn't have Tylenol in it, because I was taking so many perks that my kidney became damaged. So to the tune of 480 pills every 2 weeks. Insanity. But I had this track record, right? And I had the same doctor the same therapist. It wasn't like I was trying to,
Right.
I
Go
was
all the
manipulating.
different places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just was doing it in an entirely different way.
Hmm.
So uh, at the peak, I was at 390 milligrams of opiate every single day. And one particular morning, I
I don't even
wake
know how
up.
you could walk,
Oh my
period.
gosh.
Just not even as someone who has a spinal cord injury, but just
Can you imagine?
as a human. Like, like I said, I'm
Yeah,
a nurse. I
right?
can't even imagine. Like the fact that how amazing your body was, one, to be able to tolerate that, but that you were able to still make it work really does show how powerful your mind is over your
Oh,
body.
yeah. And even the drugs had taken a back seat to walking. Everything had taken a back seat to walking. Uh, but I wasn't doing it the way I wanted to. So
Mm.
I would, after therapy, another oxy, another 5 Roxys, and I was up 25 Roxys a day, and and 3 Oxycontins a day, every single stinking day.
Wow.
And because I did not want to deal, especially after 6, 7, 8 years, you're still in a wheelchair, Matt. Like if you go to the store, you're in a wheelchair. Around the house, I was with my forearm crutches, but I was so slow. My friends would give me a bad time. Everybody'd be like, "Come on, Matt,
Just use the wheelchair. Come on.
yeah, just use the wheel." And
Like,
you know how
you're
often I heard
making
that.
your life miserable. Like, you could be doing so much with this time and energy that you're putting into it. Like,
Yeah,
get comfortable with the wheelchair.
right, right. And I just wasn't willing to do that. I was like, "Listen, you guys go ahead." No. So by the time I get to the front door of the store, they're ready to come out, and I got to turn around. Anyway, it was kind of a circus. But yeah, I, this particular morning woke up, took my medication, it sank in, and go to therapy. Right after therapy, my wife had my daughter with us at the time, and she was 12 years old. So let's see. So it's only 4 years in then, and I jump in the front seat. I take my oxy, I take my Roxys. They sink in. We're on our way home, and my little girl asked my wife, "Hey, Mom, what are all those pills that Dad takes? And are they really going to kill him?" Because my parents knew, everybody knew I had a problem. Everyone knew I had a
Mhm.
problem. Um, my wife lovingly would not would not acknowledge the problem because she saw how hard I was working, and she's like, "Oh,
Right.
of course you're in pain." Like we've talked about it. It's like you worked so hard every single day, just literally blood, sweat, and tears. Of course he's in pain. Of course he's in pain, not knowing that I I was in a lot of emotional pain, a lot of emotional pain,
Mm.
and I was taking those drugs for the emotional pain.
Mm.
Because when I get stoned, when I get snowed, I did not have to deal with paralysis. I didn't have to deal with life. I, I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. My wife dealt with all of it.
Mm.
So anyway, it sinks in that, hold my heck, my daughter now realizes I have a problem. I am getting off of these bad boys. I'm not knowing. So I make a phone call to my doctor. "Hey, Dr. Clark, I'm going off all my meds. I've been
Like,
lying to."
no, no, don't do that. Like, we
Yeah.
could be in serious problems because these meds have
Oh,
consequences and they can cause all kinds of seizures and all kinds of
oh,
awful, like,
oh,
withdrawal symptoms, right? It's not just as easy as, oh, I'm going to just make this decision. Like, oh, we'll stop this today.
oh
You're like,
my.
don't do that, please.
Oh, no, please, please do not do that.
Right.
Do not do that. Now, here's in my ignorance, I'm like, "Hey, I'm done. I've been lying to
Right.
you. I'm taking these for emotional pain because I don't like where I'm at. I'm all in on this. I'm pushing my butt. I'm done." Because
Mm.
what they did is they took away my ability to
Yeah.
feel anything.
Right.
So no pain, no pleasure, no happiness, no joy. Like, could I still laugh at jokes? Yeah, you bet. But all of that pain medication had taken from me. And so I was truly numb, just numb.
Wow.
So he's like, look, you're on 390 milligrams. I've never had a patient on 390 milligrams a day. We're going to need to get you on Suboxone or methadone to deal with your withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what that was. I said, hey, what's Suboxone? What's methadone?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, we give these to our heroin addicts. We give these to people who are coming off meds because Oxycontin, that's a synthetic heroin.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling him, like, hey, Dr. Clark, I'm not a heroin addict. I do not need Suboxone or methadone. I am going cold turkey. Click.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure he
With
was
no
like,
idea of the aftermath that
right.
was to come.
Yeah.
So my dad took a leave of absence from work, 3-month leave of absence. My brother came up from California. I'd made the decision to get clean, and they were there to make sure it happened, you know?
They're your
So,
jailers.
jailers. So the first thing my dad does, he walks into my front door of the house, and he says, hey, I need you to get on the couch and he takes my wheelchair away from me, takes my crutches away from me. So
Oh,
I'm not going
literally.
anywhere, nowhere. Like, I am not leaving that house. They didn't need to put me in a detox facility because I
Right.
wasn't going anywhere, right? I mean, the worst thing I could do, crawl around the house and try to bite their kneecaps, right?
I mean, I don't want to laugh, but it's like you've got to have a little bit. This is heavy, right? Heavy.
Oh,
And like, I know that it was not a laughing matter at the
oh,
time, and that was so hard for you, I know, for your
oh,
family.
oh.
But
The narcotic withdrawals are the worst thing I have ever experienced
mm,
in my life. They are the most hellacious experience I've ever gone through. Much more severe than paralysis or car accidents or oh. Um, so the first day I got through the day, I didn't have any more meds. So now the anxiety kicks in and the anxiousness and how, and I didn't sleep that night. The following day, my brother would stay up with me at night, and then my dad would stay up with me during the day. And on day 2, I was just rocking back and forth on the couch because you're you're literally going insane. You are going crazy. There's bugs under your skin. There's uh, it's it's hellacious. It's horrible. It is horrible. Um, so I get to day 3. I still haven't slept, and all the toxins leave my system. I smelt like sulfur. Like, I smelt like
mm,
rancid urine. It was the most bizarre thing, and it didn't matter how much I showered. And now I'm vomiting. I've got diarrhea. I am in bad shape, and I haven't slept in 3 days. I scratched myself till I bled, pulled out hair. Um, and on day 3, I was so sick that I spent the whole day on the shower floor, just in the fetal position, just shaking, just shaking. And my wife was standing over me, trying to control the temperature of the water to help me with my shivering. And as she was doing this, I would just yell obscenities
mm,
at her. You don't bleepity bleep and love me. 1 Oxycontin. That's all I need. I would have traded everything for an Oxycontin. And those years of walking, those years of therapy, I would have traded everything for an Oxycontin. And so she would leave the room crying, and my dad would come in and start doing the temperature thing, and I would light my dad up. And you're supposed to protect your son. What kind of father are you? Just horrible, horrible, horrible thing. Um, and my little girl would come in. Gosh, man, my little girl would come in, and And yeah, I would say horrible things to her.
Mm.
So anyway, I got through the day. My brother and my dad got me out of the shower, got me back onto the bed, and they called and they said, "Hey, look, he is going crazy. Like he needs help." So Clark came to the house because that's what kind of physician he is. He's 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 and I remember him standing at the foot of my bed, thinking, "Drug dealers here. I'm gonna
Mm.
get an Oxycontin. My family heard me." I'm like, "Dr. Clark, listen, I know it's been 3 days. I still want to be clean. I just need one Oxycontin, just one Oxy." And he's like, "Matt, that's not what I'm here to do." And so I'm thinking, okay, how do I manipulate this situation now? I mean, what? So I start crying. I'm like, "Hey, Dr. Clark, I just need just one. Please give me an Oxycontin. I smell, I stink." He's like, "Oh yeah, I can smell you from here." Oh, okay, that's not working. So I yell at him, "Give me a mother Oxycontin." And he matched my level, and he's like, "Matt, you're acting like an addict." Now this is my day
Mm.
one. My day one. He's still my physician today. I love, admire. He saved my life more than once, and it's like when he said that, it was like a cold bucket of water he'd thrown in my face. Took my breath away, and I'm like, "Okay, what do I do? What do I do? I haven't slept." He's like, "Okay, listen. Here's some Seroquel. I'm going to give you 4 boxes of this drug, Seroquel." I didn't know what Seroquel was. He's like, "There's 4 pills per box. Just take one pill, and I promise you'll sleep tonight. It's an antipsychotic." I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay," because that's what was happening. I was going
Right.
absolutely crazy. So he left my bedroom and came out into the family room to talk to the family and say, "Hey, everything's going to be okay. He's going to be all right." I opened all 4 of those boxes and took all 16 pills of Seroquel all at one time. And I overdosed on Seroquel.
Mm.
Blood pressure dropped, heart rate dropped, and luckily, my doctor and family were there and got me taken care of. Um, so after about 7 days of this absolute hell, all of the chemicals had left my system, and I was clean. 7 days of like hell is not a good enough only another person who has gone through narcotic withdrawals will understand the absolute torment and torture
Mm.
that your body is fiending for that drug. Um, so now I'm clean, all the toxins, but there's this hole in my life that I used to fill with opiates. That it doesn't
Mhm.
matter how many car rides I go on, it doesn't matter how many football games or piano recitals, nothing fills this hole. And for 8 months, nothing filled this hole until
Mm.
finally uh, you start to see, okay, okay. And so I got clean. It was the most hellacious thing that ever happened to me. And my daughter, so she was 12 at the time, 4 years later, sitting on the couch, and she's, "Hey, Dad, I want to share my journal with you." Because she journals. She's always journaled. I'm like, "Right on, sweets, okay." So she sits down on the couch right next to me as a 16-year-old, and we start reading her journal. And day one of her journal says, "My dad's going off all of his pills forever. Dig in, dig deep, and get it done." Right? That's what
Mm.
we do. Dig in, dig deep, get it. Big smiley face. Turn the page. Day 2. My dad is mean. He says mean things to my grandpa. He says mean things to my mom. All of
Mm.
this is over pills. I don't understand. Day 3, and at this point, I'm sobbing on the couch. And
Mhm.
day 3 he says, "Today's the first day." Or sorry, my dad's so sick. He's been on the shower floor. He can't sit up. He can't talk. I'm really scared. And then day 4 of her journal. Now, day 4 is the day I took all the Seroquel. And I
Mm.
truly have no recollection of day 4 at all. But her journal entry reads, "Today is the first day that I saw my grandpa cry.
Mm.
I want somebody to give my dad back all of his pills so he can be normal again." And then in big capital letters, "My dad scares me." And as I'm just bawling.
Mm.
And she put her arms around me and she said, "Dad, we made it. We made it." And at that moment, I realized that my decisions had affected so many people. That my daughter went through addiction. My dad went through paralysis. All over the decisions that I made in my life. And I realized it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about us. And at that point, it was about my family. And, so I've been 4 years clean, and it was tough to read, but my family loved me through it, and things were just amazing. Things are great. Um, Still going to therapy, going to the gym every day, doing impossible things because my little girl, she's going to get married one day. Right? And what do dads do when they get married?
The first dance.
Yeah,
Walking down the
she's
aisle. Walking down the
walking
aisle, I
down
guess,
the
first. And first
yeah,
dance. Yeah.
all the things, right? All the things. And so I changed my focus to, okay, let's get these forearm crutches and let's walk her down the aisle and let's practice with her. Now she's 16, 17, 18, and got to where I could do it with single point canes, and things are going great. We're practicing the daddy daughter dance, and I could stand up with one point cane and twirl her and everything. And with single point canes, I could walk her down the aisle, but sometimes I'd trip her up, and she wanted me to use the forearm crutches because for some reason she wanted her wedding day to be all about her. I don't know.
Oh,
Right?
what? What kind of bride feels that way?
Right. So it was great. Things were so good. I'd surrounded myself with people who believed in me, who knew my goals and dreams,
Mm.
and we were going places. It was amazing. And we got to where I could walk my little girl down the aisle, and we got to where we could do the daddy daughter dance, and it was going to be just this amazing, amazing day, which it was. Uh, it just didn't go the way we thought it would go.
Mm.
So my little girl got married September 25th of 2021. And on February 12th of 2021, I was driving down to Las Vegas, Nevada at 8:30 at night, and a drunk driver crossed the median going northbound. I was going southbound, and hit me head on. It was a 120-mile-an-hour impact. And I had no idea what I'd hit. She'd gone through the median, and she'd gone through a cactus and a big bush. It took out her front headlights, and I didn't have time to react. I was in the slow lane going 80, and instantly I was paralyzed for a second time. So I suffered my first spinal cord injury was a T12
Mm.
compression burst. My second one was an L4 burst that also went into my spinal cord. So those 15 years of therapy, gone, just like that. And when she'd hit me, like I was wearing my seatbelt this time. I had compound fracture of the tib fib on my left leg. I had fractured the femur on my right leg and the femoral head, and so my left leg, my foot was kind of upside down and backwards. And I remember in sitting there in the truck, and the first thing I was like, okay, I'm okay. But where I had regained sensation in my quads, that I couldn't feel my hands again. And I thought,
Mm.
there's no way, no way. So I pushed myself back into a better position on my chair, on the seat. And I grabbed my leg just like this. I grabbed my foot and put it back down to where it was supposed to be. And well, before I did that, I took my right leg so it kind of, my right leg came out and then took a hard left. So took that, and but I trained myself to be so positive. And this, kid you not, I'm sitting there in my truck, bones sticking out, this leg just jacked up, paralyzed, can't feel. And I thought, I am so grateful that I'm paralyzed because I
Oh,
cannot feel any of that.
right. The one time you're like, okay,
It's
this
serving me.
purpose. I can, oh,
Yeah,
wow. I mean, I really, I can't even imagine being in that situation and just like all of the things from the past, just like, and all the work, like you said, just that overwhelm. I want us to stop here and start back up
okay.
next episode. I hate to do that, but in essence of time, and we'll keep people in suspense of, how you
Yeah,
made your way through that,
yeah,
and then what you're doing with all of these really hard things and the lessons you've learned and how you're inspiring and
yeah.
about your nonprofit. So thank you, Matt, for spending time with the It's Your Story to
Mm.
Tell community again today. And I am excited to just come back and have another session with you. Tell our audience where they can find you. And you guys always know the information's in the show notes. So you can also click there and connect with Matt. And I hope you do.
Yes, please go to my Instagram, Matty Blanch 3, MattyBlanch, and the number 3. You can go to my website, mattblanchardinspires.com, or sorry, that's my Gmail. So mattblanchardinspires@gmail.com is my email. Blanchard Inspires is my,
Website.
what is it? Yes, my website. Thank you. On Facebook, go to Matt Blanchard or to Today's First Step. That's my nonprofit. And you will be just inundated with positivity. That's kind of
Yes,
my
it
jam. That's
is.
what I do.
It is a bright spot in my day so often. So you guys, what a special time we've had getting to learn from Matt, hear about his journey. And if you know someone who is going through something hard, I can guarantee you they will benefit from hearing these different podcasts from It's Your Story to Tell. So please follow It's Your Story to Tell on your favorite podcast platform and share it with those who need to be encouraged. Have a
Please
great
do.
week.
I'll see you soon.